Yeah,
So
I'm
without
feeling it, Ben. I'm
further
feeling
ado,
it.
I'm going to open it up to a gentleman that he knows what he means to me. He is so highly respected in this, not just with Dallas Preston Road, and I think in this industry, and that's why I was excited to have Russ Ambers join us today. I see Mariah standing over him to assist, because Russ, what you and I both realize is that we are who we are
Yeah.
because of great help and support, be it our wives, be it our partners, be it our right-hand men and women. You've got a Mariah, I've got a Christina, and I think we recognize talent. So if she's got you hooked up, then the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't hear you.
Oh,
Is that? Oh, so Christina's going, wait a minute. So hold on, Mariah. Huh?
Everybody else hears.
Is it me?
You press this button again. See?
Okay. Okay, hold on.
There we
Okay.
go.
Now, Russell, now try it.
Ben.
See? Again.
I'm so glad Christina's back, or we would have a pretty quick conversation. Thank you.
I know, right? I am I couldn't tell her how much I missed her. But dang it, she's on the call, so I guess she. Oh, hell.
No, but you were telling the rest of the office, so thank you very much, and welcome back, Christina. All right, so, Ben last week asked me to talk about this, and Teresa a while back, and we've all been very, very busy. So I'm just going to talk to you the way I would talk to, well, Barry and I have had these conversations before, and you're absolutely right, Ben. Instinctively, you and I see, and for those of us, and I call us eagles, for those of us that recognize other eagles, you can see the people that are tracking towards success and the people that are going to struggle. Although they may get there, it's just going to take them a longer period of time. So let me start out. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, very little, and then we'll switch into something that happened to me when I was 16 and really set my life on the path that y'all see today. So at 16, that's well over 50 years ago. So something that happened to me then has stayed with me for my entire life and continues to burn within me and fuel my desire to overcome whatever situation that we may feel we're dealing with in this industry, because I've been selling real estate now for close to 50 years. And when I started, like Steve and some of the others, when I started, interest rates were 18.5%. And people come up to me now in the office and they go, geez, Russ, what are you going to do now that the rates are 5.5 or 6? And I tell them, well, it's the same thing I did when it was 18. And I was fortunate to work with, may he rest in peace, an incredibly close friend of a lot of us, David Losey, who hired me into the business. David knew how to work with me. What David did for me was he distanced me from the naysayers. And if anybody was a naysayer, I never saw them. I never met them. David knew long before I did, because I was very young, that if he could keep the negative folks away from me, then I could clearly move on to the path of success. And I'm sharing that with each one of you because you may have some friends that may find this an interesting opportunity in the industry today. You're going to go to a party. Someone's going to go, my God, interest rates are 5.5. What are you going to do? You need to distance yourself from those people as nice as you can possibly find a way, or not, because the reality is the reality. And today, what I'm going to talk about after what my father told me, I'm going to talk about the only thing that this industry will do. The only guarantee all of us have is that it's constantly going to change. And it's not about the change that's going to drive you to success or not. It's about what you do with the change. And that's all there is to it. You can't fix the weather, and you can't fix interest rates, and you can't fix pricing, and you can't fix inventory. You can fix nothing except how you think all those things impact you and only you, not your closest friend, not your business associate. I'm blessed in this office. I have Mariah and Bob, and they think exactly the way I think. No matter what happens here, we find a way to move forward. So when I was 16, I was fired from my first job. I say first because based on my personality, it wasn't the only job I've been fired from. So I decided to stay in real estate because I'm my own boss. And Although sometimes I do want to fire myself, I keep going forward. So I was at home and my father came into the room and he asked me what happened. And I told him I was fired. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in so much trouble, because back then, when your parents found out that you'd done something outside the guidelines, it was hell to pay. But my father asked me to come out in the backyard. I argued with him a bit. I finally went out in the backyard. And in my backyard in Florida, there were orange trees. And my father, who didn't have a high school education because he was in World War II and he was overseas for 7 years, had incredible street smarts. And at 16, you don't really know what that is. At 16, you have respect for your parents, and that's just all there was to it. And he reached up and he took an orange from the tree, from one of the limbs that was closest to the trunk, and he split it open with his hands and he asked me to taste it. And I tasted it and it tastes like an orange. And then he went to the edge of the limb and he took an orange and he split it open with his hands. He said, what do you have here? I said, it's an orange. He says, do you taste any difference? And the truth was, I did. And the lesson that he was trying to teach me, while at 16, I didn't get, at 18, 19, and 20, I began to get, and now much older than 18, 19, 20, I'm sure what he was doing was putting me on the path to success. And you can't ask a parent to do anything more than that. And what my father was trying to teach me was, no matter what happens in this life, no matter what happens in this life, no matter what happens, the sweetest fruit always grows at the edge of the limb. No question about it. You want to go to an orange tree, you can try it. It'll be exactly the same way. And there's always something, change, that will knock you off the limb. Always something change. Your job, son, was to get back on the tree. And for my visual, when things aren't going great, I just picture myself getting back on this tree, because I'm going to crawl out to the edge of the limb and I'm going to risk the limb, and I'm going to risk the limb breaking, because I know that no matter what happens externally, I'll just get back on the tree. And that is the secret for my desire to stay in real estate for all these years, has been my desire to move forward under any circumstances. At 18.5%, I was fortunate enough to sell 232 houses. 232 houses. When people ask me how I did that, the answer was, well, the people kept coming and I kept presenting and I kept asking them to buy. Nobody told me 18.5 was bad. They kept coming. Yesterday, I was talking to Barry in the office up here, and Barry tells me he did an open house. He had 15 or 20 people through. There were multiple offers. Wait a minute. How can that possibly be? Interest rates are closing in on 6. There is no way on this earth you can have an open house and have a ton of people in it, and multiple contracts, and contracts over 50,000 higher than asking. How can that possibly be? Well, get back on the tree and you'll see. And that's the way it works for me. So what I'm going to talk about today is change and your ability to manage it. You know, a $450,000 house at 5.5% today's rates are about $2,300. The same house in multiple offers is $510,000, $520,000 if your people have the money. That's at 4.5% 45 days ago. It's $2,325. It's more expensive. On top of that, it cost me $6,000 more to move into it. 10% of the difference in the price. On top of that, I paid higher taxes. On top of that, I paid higher interest. And you're telling me 5.5 is bad? Can't take that. And if somebody walks in the office and suggests it is, I just walk out of the office. And that's what I want you all to think about today. So you can impact your thoughts any way you want. It's clearly a choice you're going to make. So I'm going to give you a couple of secrets. Not really, but a couple of ways we used to do it. While y'all were driving all over town with multiple showing houses and not getting the offers, and then finally making an offer and sending it electronic, Bob and I were doing the same thing. Where we deviated from you is we presented the offers in person. You didn't, or you may not have. Why? Because that's the way we used to do it. Why? Because I'd like to develop a relationship with the agent instead of being electronically tied to this agent. Now he looks at me. They see me. I explain about my buyer. I tell them it's a great buy. This buyer's got great credit. And it's an opportunity for me to start developing a relationship, because if I'm in the game, if I'm the last 3 or 4, I am going to get the deal for sure. She met me. and she's going to tell her buyer, you know, I met this guy, he came to my office. I really believe he's going to get this opportunity to close. And that's just a change that we made, to the changing market. We decided to go hand out the offers instead of trying to send them electronically. Listings, it's the same way for us. We all do everything I do. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. When I go do a listing, I check all the boxes, expired, cancels, all of them. So that when I'm making the presentation, if someone says to me, well, 3 weeks ago, there was a house sign down the road and now it's not there anymore, I know about that house instead of, I have an answer. And I look more professional than the next person. I show them what's sold and closed, just like you, because we're trying to establish a price. But I go the next step. I show them about what's available in the neighborhood. I go the next step. And guess what? That's 15 days. And before I went to this listing, I called all the agents to find out if their house was still available. And here's my call. Hi, it's Russ. I'm looking at XYZ property. It's showing available. Is it still available? Yes, it is, Russ. Okay, thank you very much. I have some clients, they're interested in the area, but I do have a question. Agent, what is it, Russ? Tell me, it's been on the market for 15 days. Why do you think it hasn't sold? Well, you know, all this hoopla and fanfare. And I said, no. Tell me about the kitchen. Tell me about the backyard. Why do you really think it hasn't sold? So that I can start selling my buyer before I get there. And the other agent will tell me everything they know about that house and why it hasn't sold. So my belief system is to take the process all the way through. Now, when I'm making my listing presentation and the seller says, well, Russ, there's a house down the road. It's been on the market 15 days and it hasn't sold. I know every single thing about that house. Do I look professional? Yes, I look professional. So those are some of the ways that we've made some adjustments to this adjusting market. You can't sell me that rates are going up. I'm not that guy, because I can look at the numbers and tell you that at the end of the day, they're the same. And I didn't have to overpay for the house. And I don't have to pay more for insurance. And I don't have to pay more for taxes. I can sell that for a fact, because a refinance, if the rates come back down, is free. But I bought the house at the lower price. I am in a great place, an absolutely great place. So please, the next time you get concerned with what's changing in this market, it's about you. Change is about you. And nothing else that happens in this market should change your mind. Just decide what you want to do with what's changing. You'll come up with a workaround or a word track or a script or whatever there is, but I can assure you that you will be able to overcome every objection. When Ben and I talk, Ben tells me he's been in 5 of these adjustments. I've been in 8, 18.5%, bank crashes, all the things that go, oh my God, I have to leave this industry. Never left it, never will. It is absolutely perfect for me. It's nothing more to me than a client's objection and me finding a way to overcome it. How do you think Barry sat in a house, had a bunch of people at an open house, and they knew the rates had gone up, and yet they're still out there looking? Everybody needs a house. They may put a car off, they may put something else off, but a house is something. I mean, I'm on vacation. You can have the most incredible vacation there is. When you're on the plane and you look at your associate or your family or your kids, everybody says the same thing. Oh, I can't wait to get home. That's what it's all about. So if you have any questions, you know that our office is always open. Mariah can help you with anything you need. Bob is incredible. I am blessed in this office with peers that know only one way, the way to get things done. And that's what I would say to you today. Manage change. That you can manage. There's nothing else you can manage. That's it, Ben.
It's the one constant. And my brother, you brought the meat this week.
I can't eat meat, Ben. I had a heart attack. I'm not
I
supposed to.
know, right?
I brought the chicken and fish this week.
You brought it, Russell. You brought it. Man, I so appreciate you. And I know that again, we're preaching to the choir here because you're on this call because you know what, you're learning based, you want to grow. Again, you surround yourself with eagles all day, every day, right? We let the turkeys flock over there. That's not where we want to be, right? And I started this by getting to know Sonia better. And Sonia, I can tell you that I look on this call and I see Jillian Cunningham, and Jillian's with another broker. But when I tell you she's class all day. She's class all day. And Christina, who's on this call, she is class all day. And I'm not talking Jimsky, I'm talking Spurl, right? And I see Jenny.
What about me?
And again, you too. Bob, even though you're from A&M, my brother, you're good people. You're good people. You're good people, right? Kelly Jane, who's my best bud. I mean, there's so many good people on this call. And again, we're all like-minded. Again, we fly with eagles, and let's continue to do that because the naysayers are out there, right? And we can't listen to them because what we know, Russ knows this, Steve knows it, Tina knows it, is that, yeah, this shift, this correction, this normalizing of our market, we're going to be here for a year, no less than 2, in my opinion, right? And when we come out, we talk about capturing new market share, which we'll never give up, right? There are people who need our help, and that's your responsibility, is to find them.
You know, Ben, this market shift interest rate wise actually saves, this is the way I think. It actually saves people money.
Yeah.
And they're going to look at you because the first thing they're going to think about it, well, yeah, but the interest rates are going up. And my response to that is, well, yes, they've gone up, but do you know how much money that saved you? And that just grabs people's attention because the reality is now I don't have to overprice the house and overbid for it.
Absolutely.
I mean, for sure. So I'm buying the house at the right price or today's price, the corrected price, whatever we want to call it. So even though the interest rates have increased, my payment's the same or less.
Absolutely.
You can go any path you want to go, but if you stand firm in your belief, they're going to go, oh, or you can say my clients, my last 2 homeowners, yada, 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 because we all want to be the same. If someone knows someone else has done it, they'll do it. So those are just ways to continue to move forward in this. And really for all of us that have tuned in, if you have a glitch mentally on this, if there's something that's just getting in your way, then just stop by, visit an eagle. I do. I need to recharge. We talk about business on this side of the hallway all the time. Years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I've sold a ton of houses, right? I was meeting with Tommy, and Tommy said to me, and I'd never heard this before. Tommy hasn't sold as long as I have. Tommy says to me, Russ, you should give somebody permission to buy. And I went, what? He says, yeah, when I get people in the car the first time, I give them permission to buy today because they think they need to look at 25 houses to make a decision. And I went, what? So I sat in front of the mirror and I used, I'll give you permission to buy today. And when I finally felt it was exactly the way it needed to be, I've used it with every single person I put in the car. It tastes good. It's great on my palate. And if the market says people think they need to look at 25 houses, all right, that's my workaround. Thank you, Tommy. So there's just a lot of moving parts to our business. And I see a lot of faces here. If all these faces got together and told whatever they wish to say, somewhere there would be a nugget towards success in this group, somewhere. And I'm sticking to that.
I so appreciate it. And I love the fact that we've got different brokerages represented here, right? We've got different experience levels represented here. And yet there's not one person on this call that's afraid to share. They're not afraid to share what they've learned, what they see. And again, I appreciate everyone. Jillian, thanks for your comment there. Christina, thanks for your comment, right? Guys, let's go out and let's impact a life, okay? Today, this week, that's what we get the privilege of doing that day in and day out in this industry. And I couldn't be any more blessed and or proud to serve and do what I do. And Russ, I'm so honored that you've given us multiple nuggets today, and that I can call you my friend, I can call you my neighbor, because there's your office and wall right next to me, right? So I love you, my brother. I appreciate everyone for chiming in. And again, let's go impact a life. Let's go take a listing, because there's opportunities out there, and it's our responsibility to go find it.
My
Right?
pleasure, y'all. Thank you. Thank you all.
I appreciate you. Thanks for everyone
Thanks,
joining
Ben.
in.
Thanks, Russ.
We'll see you next
Sure.
week.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Russ.
Have a great
Absolutely.
evening. Great day, y'all.
We'll see you guys.
Bye-bye.